And actually, I'll start with something a bit different, something that made my summer, which is the victory of Pauline Ferrand-Prévot on the Tour de France. And what I found interesting here is that when they relaunched the Tour de France Femmes in 2022, it was more of talk of what's this? Are women really going to do the Tour de France? And then this year she won, and it's making headlines. And now we're talking about, is she doping herself? And the narrative really changed. And I really think that's what we're seeing happening with EV charging. And I like to think of ChargeGuru Zeplug as the Pauline Ferrand-Prévot of residential EV charging. And that's what makes me wake up every day. Well, and a bit more about us before I start with the lesson. So our mission is to contribute to a more sustainable mobility in Europe. We're 300 people in 8 countries, overall powering 2 million apartments, and we have the first installer network in Europe. Where we come from is 2014 with Zeplug, which was founded first in France, and then we expanded to Europe with ChargeGuru. And finally, the two entities were reunited 2 years ago, which is why we have those 2 brands that still coexist today. Well, 10 years down the road, for this really specific residential funded charging solutions, what did we learn? I think the lesson number 1, looking at our customers, is that good enough isn't good enough anymore. 10 years ago, people had many questions. You really had early adopters. Where can I charge? Will my car even be compatible? How many apps do I need? And now, 10 years later, people really have high expectations in terms of charging. We have mainstream users. They want a smart charging, and they know what smart charging is. They know how much they should be paying for charging. And overall, they need charging, and they want charging to be easy everywhere. And in residential charging, that's really what we're unlocking with our solution. So you have the traditional, let's say, solution for apartment buildings where you need the homeowner association to invest to deploy the solution so that every then tenant can charge. And our finance solution, what we do is that we actually install the power meter. We have our smart hub. And then from that we all finance, every tenant can then ask to have their own charger that they pay for and that they have a private use of. And what's very remarkable with the solution is that so it doesn't have any cost for the condominium. It's a standardized solution for building managers and residents, meaning that from one building to another and from one neighbor to another, everyone gets the same charging solution at the same price, which then assures everyone has a controlled charging price. And this is, I would say, more for the ecosystem, a very scalable and secure solution to develop residential charging. Finally, with our solution, just to give you a bit more price points, this is our current offer in France, which is quite competitive, if not the most competitive. So the condo doesn't pay anything. That's really our guarantee. The tenant, if it's an indoor charging station, pays $749. Outdoors, it's $2,749. And then they have a subscription that starts at $490. And each kilowatt hour that's used is either 16 cents in off-peak hours and 26 cents in peak hours. And that's this one price for everyone in France, wherever you are, whatever the year the building was built in, or how many stories you have for your underground parking, it's always the same. Moving to the second lesson, which is that this EV charging promise that we're making here, it's very hard. It's hard for the customer experience that we have to build, it's hard in terms of operations, and it's also hard in terms of the tech. Looking first at customer experience, I think what's hard actually, we realize that it's so long. In best case scenario, the customer selects their station, gets their charger, starts charging their car, it's in a month. Worst case scenario, it's 12 months because we need to have the homeowner association approval, we need to have the DSO on board with us, and you need to have a very strong focus to keep the customer experience as easy as the customer expects at each of these steps of the process. Second, aspect that we look at is operations. So we're a heavily operations-driven business, so that's really one of our core focuses. And here is just an example of an underground car park, as I have so many photos of them on my phone now. But you see that the charger is installed a bit high up on the wall, which would be, oh, well, this is not a great customer experience. But actually, what you don't see in the picture is that the customer has the BMW i3, but also has a very large SUV that needs to fit into this parking space. And so the customer requested to have the charger installed high up on the wall, which doesn't mean much when you're doing one installation, but when you have 2 million apartments that you're powering, it means that you need to take into account those small details everywhere to make charging easy everywhere. And that's what's make operations hard for us as a business. And finally, in terms of tech, I won't say too much except that I'm standing here on the stage, and that the technology to make it scalable, safe, secure at this sort of scale is something that's incredibly tough, and that we're very happy to have such a strong partner as AMPECO to support us through that. Moving on to the third lesson is that, okay, customers, they want something easy, but they also want the best price. They want affordable charging. And here, what we wanted to share today was more on how we're achieving that. And for us, we achieved that through, first, optimized operations and procurement, and second, having a really narrow focus on individual and collective energy management. And this equation is what enables us to share the value creation with our customers. Regarding the optimized operation and procurements, as I said, we're a heavily operations-focused business, so I like those nerdy pictures and, and graphs. But here it's our 3D scanner. So we have invested in 3D scanning technology, which enables us, for the larger parking lot, to have a full 3D scan of the underground parking, meaning that every time we need to make an update to the infrastructure, we don't need to go on site. We have exact, precise data available at hand, which in the end optimizes costs and lead time, of course. And regarding energy management, here, the one example I wanted to share and how we've learned this lesson is, so stick with me. As you know, we have peak and off-peak charging, off-peak being cheaper. So what we did at first is that we told our customers, off-peak is cheaper, you should charge off-peak. But then we saw, actually, and that's the blue line, that actually most of the charging wasn't happening off-peak. It was happening in peak hours, meaning that the customer was paying more and we were paying more for the charging. So what we changed is that by default, customers would charge off-peak, and if they wanted to, by clicking a button, then they could charge peak hours, but default would be off-peak. And this brought actually off-peak charging to 80%, so a decrease in 25% of our energy costs for this population. So this is a sort of thing that we've learned to do to make sure that we are providing affordable charging to all of our customers. Lesson number 4, it's more seeing with our expansion to 8 different European countries, and it's the adaptation to local challenges. We are seeing that each country has its own regulation, own competitive landscape, and that we really need strong local teams, and I'm saying hi to them today, to be able to manage that and to find local solutions that will enable us to scale our solution everywhere in Europe. Lesson number 5, also locally, the local adaptation is we've had the chance to rely on very strong local experts to succeed, and we see 2 sides of this. We have, of course, the asset managers and the property managers, which help us bring our solution to tens of thousands of buildings, and we've had strong partnership with many great players of this industry. And the second side of it is the installer network that we've built. So as you can see, we We cover quite a few locations with our installers, and this enables us to get on the ground very fast and also in a very qualitative manner, which is key to support all of our operations, of course. And finally, the last lesson that I wanted to share today is the partnership. So as we're seeing today, we have a very strong ecosystem, and that's really a great chance to make EV happen. We have all of those automakers that we work with very closely. So those are all the public partnerships that we have today that we're very proud of and that we thank. And then also there is more within the ecosystem. Also, we've seen that we really need to partner up together, even to address customers, to make sure that we make EV charging happen. All right. Well, those were my lessons that we wanted to share today. And to conclude, how are we actually the Pauline Ferrand-Prévot? Well, I think we have a great athlete first, this turnkey finance solution for residential charging. We also have the mindset, the winning mindset, which is focusing on ease of charging, value for money, and scalability. And then finally, we have the team. We have the local experts. We have the local installers and all the local offices. Thank you for listening. And let's move on.
Yeah. Thanks, Julia. I want to invite Glenn Elveder, our Vice President of Business Development and Sales Europe, for a short fireside chat. Glenn, welcome on stage.
Comment ça va?
Ça va? Si.
First question I have is in regards to EV charging. With the media talk a lot about public charging, right? But home charging, it's not really a topic that is addressed publicly, and I think that's the elephant in the room, right? And to have mass EV adoptions, you need to have mass home charging. That's what I truly believe. So you have been in this for 10 years. What do you think is the, do you think we have done enough? And what could we improve, let's say, as a regulation or, I don't know, as an industry to make it happen, basically?
Yeah, definitely it's something we really see that public charging is something that's being talked about a lot, and which is key, which is also what people can see when they drive on the highway. They can see chargers, and that's going to reassure them. But then every day what you need is a at-home charger or at the office. Overall, I think there's still a lot to do. And what we're seeing today, and I was mentioning it in the local challenges, is the regulation and also access to the grid. We have some countries where grid operators are actually competing with us, such as France, which makes it a bit tough than when we need to get our solution out there. And then we also have countries where actually the grid operators are not giving us access to the grid, such as Portugal, where we have to find solutions then to get this access, but makes it really harder for people to get home charging. Okay, so I guess your geographic expansion, I guess, raises some challenges in the different regulations. So you have selected, obviously, AMPECO as a partner. Can you maybe share a few words about what you value the most about working with us? Yeah, I mean, already the chance to be talking with you today, Glenn. Yeah. It's great. No, I think what really drove this choice is a shared philosophy of building something that's scalable, but that also adapts to local challenges. And it's also something that we've seen working together, that you're bringing out this huge platform, but at the same time that you understand our challenges and that you're willing to solve them with us. And that's what is making things work in the end. Okay, thanks. And one last question about innovation. So you talked about, of course, home charging. To make it work, it has to be convenient. It has to be super affordable. So can you maybe share a little bit, share some insights about the main innovations
that you're working on right now? Because I know, for example, a big topic for you is energy, right? And how you can integrate to the markets. Can you maybe share a little bit, with everyone here, what you have in the roadmap?
Yeah, definitely. Our offer needs to continue evolving, and we need to bring new innovation to the market, just like we did 10 years ago when we launched this Pioneer offer. As you're saying, energy management is big for us as a company because that's how we're going to be able to make our solution more and more affordable if we're able to draw down our energy costs. And so here, of course, we're looking at all the flexibility and grid service solutions that we could provide with this fleet of chargers that we have installed in so many countries. And then the second option is also innovating for our customers, giving them maybe a bit more flexibility on the pricing that we're proposing to them. However, we always need to keep this focus of making this solution as easy as possible to understand, because you have people, they look at our offer even before they have purchased an electric car, and so if they see that it's complicated to get a charger, they might not even get the car. So let's say we are also, in a way, the advocates of electric mobility as a whole, because we could be a barrier if our solution is not good enough. So we're treading carefully here, but definitely innovating here. And to finish on that, another side of the innovation that we're looking at is within the ecosystem. As you see now, we have this huge coverage in Europe of residential buildings. We also have commercial buildings, by the way. And we're seeing that it's a unique asset, and that you have other people in the ecosystem which could benefit from that, because they're already working with fleets, they're already working with large pools of cars that need to be charged, and today they can't access our infrastructure, but that could be something that we make happen so that overall we have more EVs on the road.
Also, you want to open the residential infrastructure for fleets, for example?
If it can help more fleets switch to EV by being able to have their employees charge at home with our infrastructure, then that would be amazing. I mean, that would be serving our mission, so makes sense.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks, everyone. And have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.